and welcome to Kids From Yesterday podcast. My name is Clodagh.
My name is Courtney.
And together we're Clodagh and Courtney.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Roll the theme song.
So Courtney, what have we got this week? What are we talking about? What are we dissecting? What are we going to ramble about for an hour?
You say that like everything we do is not really important and like the most important work of our time. We're recording history.
We are recording history here because emo is one of the worst documented subcultures. You heard it here first.
You did. This is fact. But what we're going to talk about this week is emo fashion. Like we did an episode a few weeks ago where we talked about different parts of like emo nostalgia. That was in our Emos Not Dead episode 7. But we want to specifically focus on where did the fashion come from? Why the fuck did we cover our faces with fringes? Like what was that about? But you're right, it's a really poorly documented subculture. There was actually an article in ID magazine in 2015 where emo is described as the last real British youth subculture. Now, fuck that, we're in Ireland, and also it wasn't just
British, it was American too.
It was American. It actually started in America, so that was a gross exaggeration. I want my 6 counties back. But for many people in their 20s, emo doesn't just mean like studded belts, cut my wrist, black my eyes lyrics, or black and red aesthetic. It conjures up strong memories of a distinct lifestyle, and there hasn't been a movement as striking as widespread to make its mark on youth culture since. And that is fucking true.
It is very true. I feel like we spoke about this in probably our first episode, that there was a very distinct emo style where we could pick each other out of a crowd.
Yeah. And
you had some sort of, I know we're going to get to science bitch later on in the episode because it's back, but there was some scientific reason behind that as well, wasn't there, Courtney?
Yeah, so like I think what we said in that first episode was that when you identify strongly as something and you want to find other people who identify as that as well, you kind of pick each other out in a crowd. But now because we have social media and you can create an online persona that like has all these things or talks the way you want to portray or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can have a Tumblr dedicated to My Chemical Romance and everybody knows, hey, they're a My Chem fan, and they also might like Umbrella Academy and they also might like all this other stuff that I'm into. And that's how you find each other, but that person may not look like an emo.
Yeah.
And it's evolved past the need for an actual subculture.
And emo, like we said, I think we get into this in nearly every episode about how hard it is to define exactly what emo is, and supposedly it's like something that's come from, you know, a band that have come from the internet and whatever. And the internet is definitely, it's a key tool for emo people. It definitely was when Bebo and MySpace and whatever was just starting out, and even now. But one of the things that, right, I definitely feel like one of the big kind of traits of how to like pick out if an account was emo or not is the lack of capital letters. I feel like using lowercase letters is a huge emo thing online.
Yeah, no punctuation.
No punctuation, no caps.
We don't give a fuck. We're too sad.
We're too sad for that shit.
Who needs grammar when you're actually falling apart on the inside?
True. So what was your unique emo style?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So I had kind of an eclectic style.
Okay.
Because my mother was like, this is a phase. And I'm like, it's now 12 years later, mother, I am still an emo.
It's not a phase,
It's
Mom.
not a phase, Mom. It really isn't. But it was like my first pair of skinny jeans were like a dark blue. She wouldn't quite let me commit to black, so it was like I had a really dark blue pair of skinny jeans.
Oh.
And then I had like dark blue Converse, and then she was like, you can wear like navy nail. It was like a war I was having with so that was like my first, like I was 13, I was emo, I wanted to look like this, and I had to settle for like close enough. But it was still close enough that like, you know, I could wear it with a black t-shirt. And then I would like, you know, then I'm like, I still see my emo friends, and like I've got like leather jackets and stuff. But I had kind of like a kind of an eclectic eclectic taste in clothes as well. I was still trying to figure out what exactly I liked, and I feel like I settled on Ryan Ross in a Fever You Can't Sweat Out era.
Okay,
so
interesting.
It was interesting. I had a lot of like interesting blouses. So I had this like gold blouse. No, it wasn't like shiny gold. It was like understated gold, but it had like ruffles down the front, and I would wear that with a waistcoat. With my skinny jeans and Converse, and yeah, it was a look. I had several waistcoats. I was obsessed with sticking chains on things.
Oh, cool.
But like I'd even like rip apart like necklaces and like glue them on. And like I had no idea what punk was. I was just kind of like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I want to do this. Or like I cut like the neck out of t-shirts and I'd like paint stuff on them. I was really weird, and I had no friends in school, and I wondered why. But like I think as well around that time I had like what I'd wear to like my like gig clothes were a pair of like, I'd wear like sheer black tights kind of, and I had like a pair of black shorts, and I'd wear a black t-shirt that either I had drawn on myself or had bought from somewhere. Like, and I had the fringe. I insisted on the fringe. I never had like the full face covering fringe.
Okay.
I had like a side, the same one I have now. I've had that since I was 13.
Aww.
I just shaved off the other side of my head. That's the only change that's happened since. But that was like my thing. And then I kind of graduated into wearing boots, but I'd always wear boots with like skirts, like floral skirts, whatever. And then I got into like tartan. My style has not changed since I was about 17, 18.
And what about piercings? Because you have your nose pierced now, but did you have any like facial piercings, anything like that when you were...
I didn't even have my ears pierced because I was like talked out of doing them. My mother didn't like ear piercings. And she was like, but if you get them done and they get infected, you have to take care of it yourself. And now I'm like, ear infections are not that bad. I've had one. Yeah. Not fun, but not the worst thing in the world either. So I didn't get my ears pierced till I was 18, and then I got a second in my right ear, and then I got my cartilage done, and then I got my nose pierced. And I still want more. Yeah. I'm just like getting old. But like we wouldn't
aging emo.
I'm kind of geriatric. But like we wouldn't have been allowed that in school either. So like
I suppose so.
That was why the American kids were so cool on MySpace and stuff, because they had all these piercings and nobody was going to say no, you can't.
See, I was homeschooled for 5th and 6th year, so I forgot that school uniform rules were a thing. Yeah. Me ma let me do whatever I wanted.
See, like we weren't allowed to dye our hair in natural colours. Remember, actually, there was a girl who like had her head shaved and like she dyed her hair pink, but because she wasn't allowed to wear it in school, she'd wear a wig in school. Oh wow! And it was like absolute fucking commitment.
Creative. Yeah. Creative way of doing it.
Like if you had your nose pierced and you got caught by the principal, like she'd make you take it out in front of her. Like nose piercings, I've passed out during my nose piercing. In fairness, I don't know what happened. I think it might have been a chronic illness thing. Like just my blood pressure just dropped. Okay. And I felt really sick, and then I had a panic attack, and they were like
looking back, it's kind of cruel. Like if your parents are allowing you to have your nose pierced and you're a 16, 17-year-old, even younger, the school should allow it.
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's a bit ridiculous. Like, especially as you need parental permission to go get piercing. I mean, like,
and that's just expensive.
People didn't, but like, for like legally you needed parental permission. For the most part, I'm sure parents eventually gave in, and then the school was like, take this book out. I don't know. This shit has been going on since forever. Like the book that I mentioned in last week's episode by Lorraine LeBlanc, like she, in the foreword, she talked about being kicked out of school in 1986 at like the height of like satanic punk panic. So she got kicked out for having a mohawk and for wearing a t-shirt that said "Eat Dirt and Die," and like she'd worn it to school. Oh my god! Many times, and the principal in the same day was like, "You need to not wear that shirt in again." And she must have been like, "I've worn it before," and he pulled her out of class and called her mother. And then they were like, "Yeah, you're scaring people with your hair." Like,
oh my god!
You need to leave. So they like kicked her out of school. And like, I feel like that if opinions haven't changed in 40 fucking years, and like 80s were 40 years ago.
I know. We were just talking about that off pod. It's just mad to think. When I think of 20 years ago, I don't think of 1999. I think of the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really weird to me that you're like, well, if in 40 years subculture expression is still like, you need to wear a uniform, you need to do whatever. Like, it's kind of like people always look down on people who go to college and then they dye their hair and they get all these piercings and they dress like whatever way they want, and then they're like, you're getting tattoos and you're going to get an office job, even though attitudes to that are changing.
Yeah.
It's like that is because they never got to experiment with this shit when they were in their teens.
Yeah.
And like, I know a lot of people listening are probably like, like rules are rules, and if you're working wherever, it's whatever. But it's still like, you have these kids who want a way to express themselves, and you're being actively told, no, you can't. And I find that so strangely prescriptive to say, like, you need to all look the same, even though you don't. Like, you're wearing the same uniform, but you don't look the same. Nobody, like, everybody's different.
Yeah.
And then, like, how is a piercing impacting your ability to learn? And it seems to just come from this belief that, like, piercings or hair colors or whatever, we were told they look trashy, and we're like, don't do that to, like, teenage girls. Like, don't tell teenage girls anything. Don't do that, because that's implying, like, a sexualization kind of thing, and, like, you can't sexualize 16-year-olds, sorry. But it does seem to be doing this thing of, like, you know, if you have piercings, then they're going to start, like, bringing the school down. And
that's not true, which is why I feel like now, like I said, I was homeschooled, so I didn't really have this whole...
You burned down your school, you also burned down
I burned down my house. I actually never got slagged like that until a couple of years ago, like, about actually being homeschooled. I'm kind of like, it was such a sensitive topic for me, but now I'm kind of like over it, so you can slag me all you want. And just, it was my mom teaching me, by the way. I did have actual tutors, because some people are curious about that, but I didn't really have the idea of, oh, I can't do this, because I had, like, wild hair colours when I was a teenager. Didn't have any piercings. If I wasn't such a little pussy about things, I definitely would have got my nose pierced. I really wanted my lips pierced, like, what you call them, snake bites. Yeah. Oh my god, I really wanted snake bites. All I wanted when I was a teenager was snake bites.
To repeat what my friend Stevie said, you're not 14, Clodagh.
I'm not 14, but I wish, like, I wasn't so afraid of needles that I could have done that when I was younger to express myself. Yeah. Because I feel like now, I just wouldn't do it now. Like, if I had them already, maybe they might still be in. Like, I really want to get my nose re-pierced. I've let it close up twice in the past 2 years.
Brave woman. But, like, it's just funny that, like, now you're like, I don't really care about it, when it's like, it was such a big deal when you were a teenager. Yeah. Because your subculture, your music, everything was so important. Yeah. That it was so important to be like, I want to look like that. Yeah. And, like, who cared? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It was literally being told, like, even if your parents were like, I don't give a shit. If teachers are saying, or principals are saying, or, like, random rules are saying, no, you can't, then it's ridiculous. Like, I even remember going on holidays as a teenager, and obviously I wanted to stick so rigidly to my emo uniform of black skinny jeans and Converse and black t-shirts and death and doom and blah. But when I go away, I still wanted to be like the emo kid. Like, I still wanted to, like, stay soft, like, not get a tan because I'm emo and I'm pale. I sparkle in the sunlight, and which I still do.
I'd struggle so much with, like, putting on a floral dress with a cardigan. Like, I was so morally against bringing a cardigan for the even breeze when I'd go away on holidays, because, like, that's not emo. It's not emo enough. And I find it so hard to try and express myself without having my emo uniform, I guess. Yeah. But it would have been quite like you in the sense that I had an eclectic taste, I guess, in clothes. Yeah. I didn't have the confidence to wear them because I was a size 18 and Kerrang didn't show anybody like mine, and I felt like I couldn't dress the way that Hayley Williams was dressing, or the way that Cassie Pope was dressing, or even Jared Way was dressing, because I didn't have the same body type. I just thought it would look silly on me because I had boobs.
But I think that's really interesting because like yours was like from a genuine thing of like, I'm actually not seeing my body represented here. Whereas like around that same time, I was in a smaller body, but I was still feeling that same pressure. And it's like, yours makes far more sense because you actually weren't seeing anything, and mine was just from a place of like, I believed I needed to look a certain way to be able to like fit in and to express myself. And I think that's something people still go through now, and that's why a lot of people don't really understand the difference between the body positivity movement and the like
self-love.
That like self-love is distinct from body positivity, because body positivity literally was created by fat black women to go like, please stop like oppressing us.
So so kind of for anyone who wouldn't really know who's listening, Courtney and I would be really into kind of the culture of hating diet culture, and I guess we know a lot about body positivity and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if anyone who's listening is curious, self-love, I guess, is the idea of loving yourself for who you are, whereas body positivity is for marginalized bodies, people
it's a
who are
movement.
fat shamed, people who are
Not
are
given
treated
medical-
differently because of their size,
like
by
if-
society or by medical professions.
Yeah, and the best way of knowing is like, you know, everybody's entitled to self-love.
Yes.
But like body positivity, it's like, well, if you can go to the doctor and not be afraid they're going to tell you to lose weight instead of listening to your concerns, if you can go to the beach and not have people laughing at you, or like a fear of people laughing at you because of what you're wearing, like if you're not like under threat of like not getting hired for a job or not, you know, stuff happening to you because of your body size.
Or not fitting in a seat somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, if you live without that fear, then self-love is for you. Whereas body positivity is for people who actively fear these things because the world is geared towards thin people.
Thinner bodies. Yeah.
And I think a really interesting thing about emo is like, in a book that I took, we talked last week about me going to the library and getting random books out. I found a book called Style Tribes by Caroline Young.
Oh, cool.
And it's basically like, it covers all the subcultures from the last like 120 years, pretty much. So from like the 1900s onwards. And she described emo as being a cross-gender style where girls rejected high heels for trainers and makeup was also used by boys. Gender lines were blurred as boys showed unmanly emotion and vulnerability. Unmanly is in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Wore brews like dark eyeliner, pink eyeshadow, and black nail polish, and chose punky skinny jeans that were originally only available in girls' lines. But what I think is really interesting is when they talk about cross-gender styles, they're talking about androgynous body types, but when they say androgynous body types, they actually mean unisex. And I found this really interesting because when, like, another thing we're really interested in is like looking at gender.
Yeah.
So when people say that they're non-binary, people picture somebody who you look at them, you can't tell if they're male or female.
Mm-hmm.
And like people are like, well, that's the definition of androgyny. So when somebody says they're non-binary, I think a lot of people expect that they're going to look a certain way. That you're going to look at them like, could they be male? Could they be female? We don't know. Oh, it makes sense that you're neither or that you're both or whatever. But the idea is like what non-binary actually is an absence of either or a combination of both.
Yes.
Of the current binary genders, or it's something else entirely.
Yeah.
So when you look at like people calling emo a cross-gender thing, you're talking about tall, thin, like...
You're talking about a body that it will be typically look like the binary of male.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and that's the standard, as opposed to it being the binary of female with boobs and curves or whatever. Yeah. And that being the standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I mean. So, and it's like when people talk about like non-gendered clothes, they're often like boxy t-shirts and like
geared towards inverted commas males.
Yeah, but they're geared towards like a male body type.
Yeah.
And like there are non-binary, and like this is not to disrespect anybody who is non-binary who fits that body type. This is literally like what we consider to be things are rooted in a kind of a male.
The male is the default.
Yeah, exactly. So when people,
it's kind of saying like mankind, man is the default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like even the idea that like men were wearing girls' jeans, it's like.
Yeah, there used to be like this big joke, I feel like, in all those like, I guess, like piss take emo songs where like, oh, you borrowed those jeans from your sister, like because I couldn't get them tight enough in the men's section.
Yeah,
like
and like it was like around that same time when all of these jeans were becoming really popular. It was like skater jeans were in, so they were like, well, we need to buy them from the girls section because we need to wear them like 2 sizes too small, and then whatever. But it's like really focusing on this very specific type of body that was present in my camp. It was present in fucking, like, that's what Pete Wentz looked like. That's what the guys in All Time Low looked like for fucking years and years and years. And it was just this, like, what I describe as like a straight up down, like, like model-esque body in the sense that it is very thin.
Yeah.
And like you can wear anything and it doesn't matter. You could be wearing a skirt and it wouldn't matter because people would be like, that's androgynous.
Everything is unisex. If you think about it, the idea of women's wear versus men's wear, it's like, no, everything is like my boyfriend bought a pair of trousers from the women's section in New Look because he was like, these are really fucking cool and they don't have anything like it in the men's section, and he was like kind of self-conscious about it. I was like, everything's unisex.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like it's
Just wear whatever you want.
Wear whatever the fuck you want.
But there has been times that I've gone shopping in the men's section to buy t-shirts.
Oh yeah,
and
same.
I've had men go, is this the men's section? And I'm like, does it fucking say men's on top there? Yeah, it does. Just because I'm a woman picking up things.
Exactly. I feel like it's more accepted for us to swap over, female identifying people to kind of swap over and buy stuff that is geared towards the male body than it is for men to...
Like, men kind of panic. It was like this thing of like, I was picking up t-shirts and he was like, but these are men's t-shirts. And I'm like...
No, they're not. They're just t-shirts.
Just t-shirts that happen to come in bigger sizes.
Top I'm wearing at the moment, men's section.
This is like, I'm wearing like a unisex t-shirt right now. Like, and that's, but when you buy band merch...
It is unisex. Yeah. Courtney's outfit, by the way, today, very emo, very perfect for recording this episode, I must say. She's wearing a beautiful A-line, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a circle
red skirt and a black t-shirt with the devil who has 3 or 4 eyes. I think.
An unknown number of eyes.
An unknown number of eyes, and it's just really cool, Nemo.
Thank you. I wear it especially for
Styling. I'm wearing tracksuit bottoms.
She also got dressed especially for me.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. But like, if you think about, I guess, iconic bands and like singers throughout the year, like the Caroline mentioned Avril Lavigne as like the new pop star on the block, and she was kind of the closest thing to an emo girl pop star that we had, and I still think that's kind of true in terms of like the most mainstream thing you can think of. But like her thing was like she was wearing like skater shoes and skater trousers, and like she'd wear like, you know, ties and t-shirts and waistcoats and shit, and it was still, again, it was like, oh my god, cool girl wearing men's clothes.
Yeah.
And that was what the whole thing focused on. Like, I do think now we're moving away from this. I feel like this was necessary for us to kind of establish that there doesn't need to be like a, you can wear men's clothes or women's clothes. Like, we're getting to a point in society where you just wear whatever the balls you want.
Yeah.
Like, I still think there's like backlash from it. Like, look at fucking Jonathan Van Ness. He's been saying, you know, he's been wearing fucking dresses and skirts everywhere.
And heels.
Yeah. And, you know, that was all fine. It was like, oh, look at the nice gay man doing whatever. And then when he was like, he's still going with he, him. Or she, her, he doesn't actually mind. But he came in as non-binary. Yeah. And people were like, whoa, hang on now. And it was like, you were fine with him being a gay man wearing a skirt. But as soon as he's like, I don't fit into a binary anymore. You have a problem with it, and it's like people just can't seem to wrap their heads around the idea that like male versus female isn't all we have. Yeah. Like, people just genuinely can't get their heads around it, and it's really interesting to me. And I think a lot of it comes from this idea that like when we think androgynous, we think could be either or, but kind of like that model-esque thing where you're like, you're kind of feminine, kind of masculine, what do we, nobody knows.
But even if we look at Jeffree Star, who started out on MySpace, was a huge emo star, or scene queen, and I was watching, Courtney recommended a couple of episodes ago that I watch the series with Shane Dawson, and I watched it the other day, and even in the episode he's like, I'm not a he, I'm not a she, I'm just a Jeffree, and I was like, that is pretty cool. Like,
because Shane asked,
Shane asked,
people say she, some people say he, and Jeffree was literally like, I don't care.
Yeah, he was like, I don't care, I'm just a Jeffree, which I thought was really cool, because there's like, obviously before he used to present he's I guess less masculine than he was before, and I guess even
it was more like drag style.
Yes, exactly. And there's this idea, I guess now in this the year that God giveth, 2019, we have these words to describe non-binary. Yeah. We understand gender. If you asked me 10 years ago, like even 5 years ago, to like talk about gender, I wouldn't have a clue. I'd be like, what? There's more than two genders? People don't feel like they're just one or the other. Like, obviously I understood like trans rights and trans issues and stuff like that, but I didn't really get that there could be more than just two genders.
And I think this is why when people are trying to present this idea that there is more than two genders, that when people are like, well, explain trans people then, and you're like, okay. Like, I mentioned this in the last episode. Juno Dawson is a trans woman who wrote a book called The Gender Games, and if you have any questions about gender, fucking read it, because it's brilliantly broken down. But she does this really great job of explaining how she believes that there's more than two genders. She understands it's kind of wild for her to go, I believe that there's like a non-binary and like gender doesn't really matter, and it's a whole social construct that we've made up that like from the second you're born, somebody has decided you're male or female. You are now, your life path is going to go as such.
Yeah.
And her point was that she understands that as a trans person, she doesn't believe in the binary, but still wanted to not be in the binary she was assigned, because she's kind of said like in our society we haven't quite gotten to the point where like, you know, where this is accepted,
where we should be.
Yes, she thinks that we're now maybe 20 years behind where we should be in terms of understanding trans issues. So like in 20 years time we're going to look back and go like, what the fuck were people doing? Like why the fuck did we think there was only two genders? Why the fuck did we think did we have an issue with non-binary people? Why the fuck did we have an issue with like,
I think this is where emo fashion especially kind of trumps all other subcultures or other fashion trends, is because that was my first experience anyway with even seeing bisexual men or seeing men use eyeliner and nail polish, and to me that was just like, like, doesn't matter, like their nails aren't going to, like, do you know what I mean? It was so accepted amongst emo people.
We were like, oh my god, they're emo, they have nail polish on. Like, it was never like oh, you're a dude, what are you doing? It was like, oh my god, that's cool. Or that dude's wearing eyeliner, he's clearly emo. Yeah. And like, it was problematic. We've talked about this to fucking death at this point. We've done 2 episodes on misogyny. Yeah. Episode 4 and episode 8. Yeah. And we've talked a lot about how, like, there was a lot of issues in emo. And I do think at the time, you know, like, there was a lot of slurs thrown around. So bisexual men were called like the F word, and I don't mean fuck. And like, you know, there was all these like things thrown out there about showing that vulnerability that still wasn't really accepted. But now I think, looking back on it, it was a moment in time when stuff started to shift, where like people were allowed to show emotions. People were expected to go, I have depression, I have anxiety, I have bipolar, I have whatever, and I'm emo, and whatever. So I think it was a really important thing to have happen.
No,
and
definitely.
I think part of it came from like the fashion. But just on that point that you said about how it's like one of the most, what was the word you said? About it, like the most different subculture?
Don't make me think about what I said 2 minutes ago, Courtney, because I can't remember.
Well, think back to what Coda said about like how it's different or something a few minutes ago. Accepting? The
most important?
You said something about like, I don't know.
I used a smart word.
You did.
And now I don't remember it.
Great point. But I actually wanted to go back a little bit to the freaking late 70s, 80s. So in the 80s, there was the punk movement, as we know. And that kind of grew out of, this is from Caroline Young's book and also from Lorraine LeBlanc's book, which I'm not finished reading, but I'll get to. So she kind of explained that punk came out of like skinheads. So skinheads were like anarchists, basically.
So this came out of like the anti-Reagan?
Yeah, so punk was like the anti-Reagan shit.
Okay.
So the idea that they have put forward is that the years that Ronald Reagan was president in the United States was what caused punk to happen, because people were so angry. They wanted somewhere to go where they could beat each other up in like safety kind of, and scream about messages and talk about needing for change. This is where punk music's come from. Yes. We're also heading into a punk revival, which I want to talk about in a future episode.
This is why emo is coming back in 2019, because fuck the Irish government.
People are very sad.
Yes. We're sad and angry all at the same time.
But at the same time, so while punk was happening, this was like very anarchist. There was all this resistance. There were all these protests. There was all these like attitudes. There was like there was like resistance to the idea of punk. Yeah. But at the same time, you had New Romantics or Blitz Kids in London. Okay. And so this was like 1978 onwards. The New Romantics were kind of based off like glam rock, I think. So like people like David Bowie inspired this. So they had this thing of like they'd wear like pirate kind of clothes. They wear like sailor outfits. So it's like this real kind of French pirate like military type thing. So they have all these like old French like Versailles, like not Renaissance, but like Versailles, like these like brocade kind of rich fabrics, or like military style jackets, but with the double breasting on them, and like they had like gold thread running through them.
So kind of anything like the My Chemical Romance ones?
Quite like them. Which is the point I'm getting to, which is that
sorry.
No, it's okay. Jump at the gun, Clodagh, Jesus. No, but like it was this real kind of glamorous glamorous high fashion kind of thing where like designers were making stuff. So Vivienne Westwood was making stuff. So she was also making punk clothes, but she was also kind of acknowledging this thing where like they'd wear a lot of theatrical kind of style makeup. They'd kind of have like Marilyn Monroe hair, but they'd also have these like high fashion kind of, it's really hard to describe. I think I don't necessarily have all the words to do it. But think like Bowie.
Yeah.
That kind of like glam rock, really theatrical, really
Pete
glamorous.
Burns kind of.
Yeah, I think like just like something different, I guess, that stood out from punk. It was still like a subculture in itself, but it was like short-lived. So they did kind of like a pirate theme. But when you think about how emo kind of grew out of punk and the New Romantics era, so you have like these theatrical looks, so like Panic at the Disco, emo, but like very New Romantic style.
Yes.
That kind of like frilled shirt, those jackets that they wore, the waistcoats, all this shit that they were wearing, all the fucking paisley that Brian Ross was rocking back in the day. Like that was all very New Romantic. Like these weird like dickish collars and big sleeves and like pirate boots and odd suits, that kind of thing. And then you have like the military style that was in the Black Parade era. I feel like to define emo fashion, it didn't just come out of punk, because a lot of stuff that we wore, like the wearing black and stuff, was kind of left over from that a good bit. But I also think that there's a real theatrical element to it, that where punk was very like, we're angry, we want to be seen and we want to be heard, the whole concept of like emo fringes and stuff and like wearing like dark makeup was like, you're shy and you're like
introverted and you don't want people to look at you. Yeah.
In Caroline's book, she had a quote from a 15-year-old who'd say that she wouldn't say she was depressed or over emotional, but she is shy. So like emo was a way of expressing herself through clothes and makeup. So I do think while it's quite attention grabbing, like you could at the time pick one out of a lineup, like you go, that's an emo. Whereas like they're hiding. It's very like, you know, this is how I communicate, that I'm introverted and I'm shy and
don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. But also like I see you and you see me.
Yeah.
So I do think it's like kind of like nobody has really looked at this, and even like Caroline's book is great, but it talks a lot about stuff we've already discussed, like from Andy Greenwald's book, and other articles and stuff that we've read over the last few episodes. So there doesn't seem to be like, how did this get here? How did we end up here? And I do think it did come as like this like love child of the New Romantics and the punks, kind of growing into this brand new subculture of its own. But I don't know where the skinny jeans thing came from, because at the time like skater shoes and skater jeans were kind of all in, and that was like that kind of movement. So like you think about like the soundtrack to the fucking Tony Hawk games, like that music was all popular at the same time as emo was getting its movement. So it does seem to be like, was it theatrical for men to wear girls' jeans? Was that like part of it, that like, look at me, I'm non-conforming because I'm literally doing this thing that I'm not supposed to do?
Yeah, I can see that.
One particle of unobtainium has a nuclear reaction with a flux capacitor. Carry the two, changing its atomic isotoner into a radioactive spider.
Yes, science!
So for Science Bitch this week, I found a paper by this girl, Katie Schmidt. She wrote it. It's called Exploring Dress and Behavior of the Emo Subculture. So this was just a dissertation, I think she wrote for her state university, but I thought it was really cool and I thought it was worthy of a Science Bitch. So the whole point of it was to talk about emo as a subculture, but she talked a lot about emo fashion. So and I think this is just in all the literature that I'm reading about this, like you could define punk, you could define New Romantics, you could define all this stuff, but people still struggle with defining what emo actually is. So her point was that people disowned the term emo. So despite the resistance to identification as emo kids, it's fairly easy to recognize a young person, typically a teenager, although sometimes reaching beyond into early adulthood, who fits the classification of emo kid. And somebody described emo boys as the mods of the millennium. So mods were like, think Alex Turner in Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
That's mod, basically.
Yeah.
So black hair, sweeping dramatic bangs, heavy eyeliner, and tailored clothing. And then this other girl said that emo was like a fluctuation between goth and emo. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like somewhere in between like, as in like, she doesn't see it as like the sweeping bangs eyeliner thing. She sees it as somewhere like...
Yeah, it's always, I found as well that it's hard, like the lines between goth and emo are definitely blurred somewhere along the way.
Like some people could argue that Marilyn Manson's emo. I'm sure he would argue against it very strongly. I'm sure he would hit me in my face if I said that to him, if I ever got close enough to Marilyn Manson to have a conversation. Jesus. My favourite ever, like I have never seen him before, but I was at the Kerrang Awards in 2015.
Wow.
Because it was like the first time they allowed people in.
To buy tickets?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, he was presenting, and he was up talking about like whatever, and Jack Barkat from All Time Low was really drunk, and he got up with his phone and he went up and he was like, "Can I get a selfie?" And Marilyn went, "No, sit down."
Brilliant, love it.
It was fucking beautiful. It was so funny. I was like, "Oh, that's so embarrassing." I'm so.
Was he
sorry.
on stage when this was happening?
I don't know if it was like, I can't remember quite.
Okay, so he didn't like stage bomb him or
No.
Okay.
This was just like, I don't know if he got up to accept an award or if it was like in an interval or something. He went up and was like, "Can we get a selfie?" And the man was like, "No, absolutely not."
Oh, brilliant.
But anyway, I digress. This girl said that emo is kind of like gothic light. To me, emo means not knowing how to deal with the large amount of emotions that rage through adolescent and teenage bodies. So emo subscribing teens act as if they have no place in the world. They just don't know where they fit in and don't know how to deal with that lack of connection. And I'm like, I feel personally attacked right now. So she also cited Andy Greenwald. I feel like we just touched on the only books that exist.
But there's very few.
Yeah.
Until there's the Kids From Yesterday podcast book.
Maybe it may not happen. It should happen. She kind of went on to say that most kids who appear emo are not willing to identify as emo. And I do remember that back in the day, being like, I wanted so badly to look like those emo kids. I wanted so badly to wear the clothes. I wanted so badly as people to see my clothes.
Yeah.
As being reflective of that emo style. And I was also like, no, not emo. Like, what was the point in that?
So you were an emo who was like, I'm not emo.
Yes, like me and my friends would joke about like, oh, we're so emo, but then if somebody else was like, you guys are so emo, I'd be like, no, I'm not.
Okay, no, me and my friends, I think as far as I remember, we definitely embraced the term, but we felt like we were more wemo.
Okay, I see that.
But now I'm like, I'm fucking emo. I am an emo.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like, I feel like that was really based on an Americanized thing, and we keep saying this on this podcast that in Ireland it all melded together.
It did.
There wasn't room for people to be like, no, you're a scene kid, no, you're goth, no, you're whatever. It was all like, you're all fucking weird and we don't like you. That was kind of the overarching, like...
And as well, I think the whole thing of people being like, you know, like not wanting to identify yourself as emo kind of goes back to your favourite bands, such as My Chem, not wanting to take that phrase on, or that label on.
Nobody knew what it meant, but it was provocative.
But, yes, but everyone, like, we know what it means, but we don't know what it means.
Yeah, it was... And like, no wonder. And like, I feel the way people describe it is really reductive. Like, whenever we keep seeing emo is an internet band, you're like, God, that's such a weird way of describing it.
Yeah.
But then you think like, people go, SoundCloud rappers, and it's the same.
Yeah.
Like, Lil Peep was a SoundCloud rapper, and yet he's like, you know, up there is like the future movement of the fourth wave of emo.
Yeah.
Like, he's not around anymore, but it's still like, he was still dismissed as
SoundCloud rapper. But I just had a quick look at what the dictionary definition of emo is. And it says here it's a noun, a style of rock music resembling punk, but having more complex arrangements and lyrics that deal with more emotional subjects.
Okay.
Which, I'm like, oh my god, dictionary, you're right.
Oh my god, dictionary, you get me.
You get me.
Yeah, I can see that. And the other thing Shmita was saying in this is she went on to say that a major influence on emo was glam rock. So that was like,
I can see that as well.
Stuff, and I'm like, hi, science people, you agree with me. That's so cool. So she referenced a piece where they said Bowie in particular achieved some kind of cult status in the 70s. He attracted mass youth, which created a new sexually ambiguous image for those youngsters willing and brave enough to challenge the notoriously pedestrian stereotypes who are eventually available to working class men and women. So like Bowie in particular was very subversive. I think he just didn't give a shit. Like, he just
wore
whatever the hell he
wanted.
Like, it was just whatever. And I think this grew out of that in a lot of ways. It's that same theatrical glam rock thing, but with a different sound.
Yeah. Because I definitely feel like the clothes were, there was just such a massive part of being emo and being accepted by other emos, was the, like, and getting to express yourself. Because like we said earlier on about, you know, in school you had to wear a uniform, you had to wear this, and it was hard to kind of, I guess the only ways of knowing who was an emo and who wasn't in school was wristbands or hairbands or there were different ways, nail varnish, things like that.
Yeah, it was like very, you know, oh, do you wear Converse whenever you can get it? Like, you can, because we weren't even fucking allowed to wear them in school. And I was like, but how are people supposed to know?
How are people supposed to know emo? I had an emo for the few years I was in school. I had a Converse backpack, which I still have, and
you're gonna bring it to college.
I'm gonna bring it to college when I go back to college in September, and I'm gonna solidify myself as the emo of the class. I didn't get to do it in school, so I'm gonna do it now.
You can be like, I have a podcast actually, you guys, if you want to listen to it. The other thing she quoted was a dude called Andy Bennett, and he wrote this in The Forgotten Decade, Rethinking the Popular Music of the 70s. Again, about Bowie, was that artists associated with glam rock certainly had emulators among their fan base. From a fan's point of view, the glam image was only attainable up to a certain point, so typically makeup and hairstyle, but the cost of materials and craftsmanship involved in the production of glam rock costumes putting them beyond the affordability of glam fans. But she seems to think that emo kids differ drastically, because for emo kids being authentic and revealing, that so authentic that bearing with one's emotions rather than hiding them were rewarded or expected. That was the norm. So like, she seems to think that like the difference for glam rock is that it was all a theatrical put on thing, that like on stage only you are your persona, and then off stage you can be whoever you want, and it was because it's like you're wearing a costume. Whereas for emo kids, I think it was like expected that like you always dress like this. Whenever you get the chance, you have the hair, you have the clothes.
Yeah.
Like, you wear your hoodie in 30-degree heat because you can.
Yeah. No, that's definite. And do you know, one of my least favourite things about emo fashion? Fingerless gloves.
Oh, Clodagh.
What was the fucking point?
Clodagh.
How would they keep your hands warm?
They didn't. That was not the point. I had fingerless lace gloves. I had fingerless
that's cool.
leather gloves. I had fingerless. I still wear fingerless gloves in winter. I want my fingers free. I just
like, I can understand. Oh, this is great because touchscreens.
Yes.
But you can get gloves now with magical fingertips on them.
Yeah, of course you can. Have you tried to fucking type with those? You're like, oh, did you mean to fucking smash your face into the thing?
But yeah. Those and check scarves, didn't get it, didn't like it.
I had a check scarf as well.
I'm so sorry. I actually have them as well, but I never wore it.
It was like a pink and black check scarf. It was like Pete Wentz's
so
one
cool.
that he wore. You know, the black and
yeah.
white one. I had like a pink, like a hot pink and black version of that.
Me now, that's so cool, but also I don't get it, Courtney.
I don't get it. No, I mean, I never liked wearing it because I was like, this is so pointless. My neck is so hot. What's happening?
And it's not warm enough to wear in the winter either. Because it's like not wool.
No, it was just effectively pointless.
Exactly. Like fingerless gloves. This is the hill I will die on.
So the final point I think that she made in this that's pertinent to our discussion about fashion is that a book called Subculture: The Meaning of Style didn't provide specific insights into emo subculture. It does explain how subcultures formed as responses to mainstream. So what is normal or expected one day can shift in its reception to the next. Forms cannot be permanently normalized. They can always be deconstructed, demystified. Moreover, commodities can be symbolically repossessed in everyday life and endowed with implicitly oppositional messages by the very groups who originally produced them. So she seems to think that in emo, skinny jeans become repossessed and endowed with implicit meanings when boys and girls both wear them. Whereas like people like goths who wear like dog collars and like fishnets and stuff, like they're just making a statement. So it's like the actual item means something when it's within the context of the thing. So like her point was that you know, if Justin Bieber had emo hair, oh, and what, do you have the fucking helmet head?
Yes, he did.
But like it wasn't.
He wasn't wearing dog collars.
And like it wasn't emo. He's not emo, and like he just had hair. It wasn't like he was wearing purple hoodies and shit. So people were like, well, that's not emo. Even though if somebody goes describe emo, they'll go, well, side fringe and this and this. And
yeah.
like Justin Bieber has a side fringe, but he's not emo.
Yeah.
So
he did bring my beloved Cobra Starship out on tour with him once.
did he?
Yes, they opened for him. I think it was either a US or South American tour. Yeah, and Gabe was friends of the Beeps. This was back like.
That's like fun.
This is back, yeah, like back when Bieber was like on his first album.
Okay, so he was able to do shit like that.
Yeah.
But it was just, that was his hair, and I suppose that's kind of thrown me for a loop now. I don't know what to say about that. You can't put him in a box, Clodagh. What have you done? I do think actually I realised that from the Lorraine LeBlanc book that I was talking about earlier as well. So we're kind of going off science bitch topic, but
yeah, sorry, I just have all these random facts.
That's fine. We're cool. Facts
such
are
as
great.
I hate
We love facts.
gloves, fingers
You
gloves.
hate gloves. I hate gloves. That same book said that resistance may be conducted at a level beneath the consciousness of the individual members of a particular subculture. It's like the point they were making was that, like, we don't know. Like, did people think they were subverting gender stereotypes when they wore girls' skinny jeans? Probably fucking not. It was just like, that's the style. That's what I want to look like. Did I want to express myself in a certain way? Like, did I know that's what I was trying to do? I was trying to express my individuality. Not really. I just wanted piercings. I just wanted cool hair. I just want, like, there was no purpose to it. So it seemed to be operating like below the actual, like, a conscious level. And I guess because, like, I was like a 14-year-old, so the 14-year-olds now are far smarter than I could ever hope to be, and they're so much more aware. But I think for me at 14, I was so not really paying attention to what was happening. So
I think I'm still going through that phase of I'm not paying attention to what's happening.
I don't know what's going on.
No, but same. And maybe we're looking, we're not giving ourselves enough credit. Maybe we think 14-year-olds now are really smart, and we were too. But, But then again, like I said in the last episode, I was still eating grass at that stage, so,
Oh, I have heard of a 12-year-old, like, niece of a friend of mine who's, like, reading, like, she loves social justice books or, like, issues books, and I'm like, you're not even
okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you're awesome. And, like, that's shit that I never would have thought of. But, like, she has access to the internet. She has access to, like, YouTube, like, bookstagrammers, or, like, she has access to all this stuff. And stuff that I feel like now, if we had access then to this podcast or to, like,
other educational podcasts, I wish that those bedtime stories for rebel girls and stuff like that. And I was in a bookshop in Manchester last week, the week before, and they had like a flashcard game of like all these amazing women like Frida Kahlo and Maya Angelou and all these people, and it was like the game was a family game of like, I think it was some sort of guess who, like you have to name who's on the flashcard. And I was like, oh my god, like I want somebody to play this game with me. Even now I want to learn who all these people are. But I wish I had those books then. Like, completely off topic, by the way. But
well, it's not. It's still relevant because I feel like emo as a subculture challenged so much. I feel like now, looking back on it with the context that I have now as an adult who's interested in gender studies, who's interested in like feminist studies, who's interested in subculture studies, I have bought so many subculture books. It's not even funny. We haven't even got to like. We're going to have plenty of content because I just keep borrowing shit from the library, and they're like, what is wrong with her? That's the overarching. Oh, it's you. You're back again. Here's your weird books you've borrowed.
I've actually finally joined the library in Dublin. Woo. And I'm very excited. I have my first book on hold, but I have to go in and like get the book so they trust me with more books.
That's okay.
So I'm very excited about that. It's a 40-minute walk. I can't wait to pull a Matilda, and walk to the library and bring back my little trolley of books,
You're gonna have the best time ever reading all the fun stuff that I'm gonna make you read. Or like, no, you need to get this book, you need to read this book. But this is actually off topic.
Yeah.
But I do think I wouldn't have had the interest I do now in stuff if we didn't have that.
Yeah.
I do think with the context that we've had, so like, we've talked before about how emo is like subverted like gender, it's subverted style, it's subverted like heteronormativity really, because there was such a, and we talked about this in the pop culture episode, we'd mentioned Dan Hell's video. He came out after like 10 years of being a YouTuber, and he did like a whole video called basically I'm Gay, which is great and you should watch it if you have 40 minutes because it's very long, but it's really informative. And he had a whole section where he talked about how like he was questioning his sexuality, emo came along and he was like, amazing, I can now
fit
say
in here.
well, yeah, but he was like, I can now say I'm bisexual, so I get to be gay and normal. And it's like, obviously that's not his opinion on it now, that's nobody's opinion on bisexuality now, but it was at that time. It gave gay kids and LGBTQ like Q kids who were questioning this stuff like a place that they could go where you're like, it's actually fine for me to say this.
Yeah.
If I don't say I'm gay, then like, you know, people are just going to be like, well, I don't have an opinion on bisexual, so
yeah,
I'm not going to beat you up for being gay because you're something else entirely.
Yeah.
But I do think because of all these things, I have far different opinions on, and like I'm far more open to things now than I would have been if I'd been involved in like, I don't know, the Justin Bieber fandom or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely feel the same. I feel like when I got into emo music, my mind opened up a lot more because I had never seen, like I said before, I'd never seen male bisexual representation. I'd never seen the kind of the fluidity of guyliner or men wearing clothes that were aimed at females or female identifying people, and it definitely as well opened me up to a lot of different things, and I'm so grateful that we had this kind of amazing subculture because not saying that, you know, if you were into Justin Bieber, you probably had a completely different experience. Yeah. And had different issues to deal with.
I see all the people who are into K-pop and I'm like, K-pop's cool and it's fun and you get to do all these things, but it's so entrenched in diet culture, and I'd like wonder about people who are involved in it. It's like, well, I've seen stuff on Tumblr where people are like dangerously entrenched in it, and it's like, this is like inspo shit, and it's come up on like my dash or whatever, and I'm like, whoa, okay. And it does seem to be like embroiled in it in a way that you're like, is this what these kids are getting out of this? Is this the only thing they're taking away from it? Yeah. Stuff about like how your body, I mean, K-pop's wild. I don't know if you know this about it, but like they're all on these insane diets. I'm not gonna talk about what they are because I don't want to give anybody any ideas. Yeah. But they do have these like disgusting diets that they're on that, you know, you couldn't fuel a toddler on what they have to eat, and they are monitored every single day. There was a case with like, I don't know if it was BTS or a different band, where one of them collapsed, was in hospital, and then their manager, PR person came in, pulled the fucking like IV out and was like, you have a shoot to do, go do the shoot and then you can come back to hospital. Like that's in their contract. And because like most K-pop stars, you do this for like 10 years and then you join the military, because everybody in Korea has to go to the military. But it's like, this is like this like wild treatment of people, and this is what people are looking at. So I do think you're right that we are really, really lucky that like, yeah, it was incredibly problematic in so many ways. You know, there was still a lot of homophobia, there's so much misogyny. Oh yeah. But we still learned from it. Yeah. And we still were given opportunities to go, you know what, that's not right. I worry about people in other subcultures that are like,
I knew that. I'm just still a bit dumbfounded by this whole K-pop thing. I knew they were manufactured, but oh my god, that is like off the line manufacturing of a band.
Like your body is manufactured.
Jeez.
How you look, you know, Korea's wild. I have a friend who lived there for a while, and the thing is, she said like the worst day for her was like, because she was giving out about a lot of stuff, and she said like, you see people like, they get like monolid surgery, so they get like they get one eye done at a time so they don't have to miss any work, so they'll go from work to this like get surgery done, and they'll have like eye patches on over. And she said you see that every day, or they get like, there's like a thing where they want you to have like a V-shaped chin, so they go and they get like surgery, so they'd have the stuff up and they'd just be in like Starbucks or whatever buying coffee, and they'd still go to work. Like, it's wild. And like, I think she said like 1 in every 4 people in Korea have like gotten some kind of cosmetic surgery done.
I've seen YouTube videos where people glue their eye sockets up to create monolids. Like I've seen, or to create, not monolids.
To like, like eyelids.
Would they be polyps?
I don't know what it's called.
Anyway,
like
Caucasian or Western looking eyelids. And they would glue them up, and there was all these things you could buy on Wish, and bizarre.
It's wild. But she said this day she'd been giving out this stuff, and then she was looking at a billboard, and on the billboard was this woman who had clearly been airbrushed, but she had been airbrushed so much that she didn't have a belly button.
Wow.
She was like, these are now the standards for women. There is no amount of good that you can look because you have a fucking belly button. Like, she was actually, I was like, even hearing it secondhand, I was like, that is, I can't imagine.
I definitely feel like to a point though, there is certainly an aspect of that in emo culture, in that there was only one body type.
Oh no, I'm not like absolutely not
Yeah.
feeling that. It
Yeah.
still messed people up, I think, to a degree.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
it's still a problem. It's still like, back to what we said at the beginning of this episode, there was still a problem with fat phobia. There was still a problem with this like belief that you could only look good if you wore your like skinny jeans and you didn't have
hips,
or
but
or
boobs.
Like,
if you didn't have, and that's how I thought I needed to look, and I was so self-conscious about the fact that I had double D's and I wanted to not have boobs at all.
Yeah, no, I totally can empathise with that, and I agree with it. I just think the difference is that nobody was like
saying it.
Yes, nobody in the media that I could see. We're saying,
okay, here's it. Because definitely if they had like one of those, you know, fucking diet columns where they were like, this is what Hayley Williams eats in a week, I know I would have gone by that 100%.
Oh no, absolutely. We were talking about this off pod a while ago, that like there's certain people that even up to like 2 years ago I would have been like, yeah, I'll try that. I need to try that. So I'm glad in that regard that, well, the overarching thing was like, you have to have this body type or you're not valid. Which is a shit message for anybody to get, and I'm glad it's changing. I'm glad Hot Topic have so many plus size models.
It's glorious.
It doesn't feel like we're doing this because we want people to like get off our backs. It's like every couple of photos is a plus size or a disabled model or a plus size disabled model, and it's like
like women of color and stuff like that, and it's brilliant. I actually want to go on a rampage on the Hot Topic website. I want to buy everything. I'm so sad. Like it
sponsor us.
Yeah, like you never. I remember like obviously years ago when I wanted to buy stuff from Hot Topic online, you couldn't because they just didn't deliver here. Courtney reckons they do deliver here now, but it would just cost a fortune. I just want to go on a rampage. Like they even have a plus size section on their website now.
And that's such a change.
That's gorgeous.
Like I'm still having a problem where like I tried to follow a bunch of people on our Tumblr. Because I wanted to follow like a few like plus size like emos, but I don't know, maybe I just don't have to use Tumblr anymore. But I actually couldn't find anybody.
It's us. We're the plus size emos now.
That's us now. But like it's interesting that I know that's the message we got from the people that were held up in emo, but I'm glad that that's changing and that that's not like people weren't writing it down. I didn't read it anywhere. Yes, there were emo kids who were hurting themselves with like restrictive diets or with disordered eating and stuff, but that wasn't the subculture was not that. You know, like that was not the thing that we did. The thing was like you wanted to look like them and stuff, but it was more the fashion. It was more the fashion
that it was more like why don't I look straight up and down, like why aren't I a rectangle when I wear these outfits, more so than, well, there was kind of, I guess, a sense of like I want a thin body, but it was a totally separate issue. It was nothing to do with
it was
emo.
More like, I want the fashion, and then it was like, well, this fashion doesn't look right. But I think the thing about it as well, particularly here, because the only places you could buy emo clothes were like Asha in town, pretty much like. People always talk about like how old H&M used to have, and it did kind of have like scene kid kind of accessories and stuff.
I used to buy bits in there.
But you get a few emo bits. Like
you get the few emo bits now, the few t-shirts and stuff like that. But I was actually in Heaton's, which you said is owned by Sports Direct now.
Pretty sure,
in Heaton's in Navan a couple of months ago, and they had My Chemical Romance t-shirts, and I was like, what is going on? I would have loved this. Like for us being like, well, Navan's a small enough town. Actually no, that's a lie. It's a big town, but it's small in a sense that there was never much there. Like the emo clothes you could get was, you know, your Converse, you got your skinny jeans and pennies, you might have got a plaid t-shirt. I certainly didn't wear the crop tops and pennies, but people would have. And then you buy your band merch, your band t-shirts, and that's your uniform, and there was nothing really else you could. We couldn't really buy those experimental things like from Asha unless you were going up to Dublin for a concert, the big day out, and you could go and buy those bits. But
do you think that
it's very plain.
The difference for like maybe in America it was more prescriptive, but here it was like once you wore like skinny jeans and you had a band t-shirt on and you were wearing Converse and you kind of had like the suggestion of a fringe, people were like, you're probably emo, it's probably fine.
Yes.
So like I think people got away with it more, and like not got away, that's a horrible way of putting it. People probably didn't feel as pressured
to be as extravagant or as definitely. I think it was once you had like Converse or Vans. If you had Vans, you were a proper goth. Nowadays everyone wears Vans. Posers. If you had Doc Martens, you were a goth. I had a pair. I really want to get another pair.
No, you need to. I remember actually, like, my first boyfriend, he was a dickhead, but he used to always be like, oh, I hate Docs on girls, like, don't get a pair. And now I own 4 pairs, and you can go fuck yourself, sir.
Bitch. I had a pair, and then I was like, no, I just feel like, I'm too fat to wear these. So, which was an awful thing to be saying about myself.
You also can't see my face I'm making, like, no, Clodagh.
I was so horrible to myself. I was like, I can't wear them. I have to be like skinny, and that's the only kind of body shape that can wear these boots because they're kind of clunky. But now I have like a mock pair from Penny's, and I fucking love stomping around in them. I'm here. I'm emo.
I'm here. I'm emo.
I'm in my boots from Penny's. Woo! And that's me every morning going out in the Lewis.
That's you stand in the middle and going, I'm here. I'm emo. I'm wearing boots from Penny's.
But yeah, no, and I've just decided, fuck it.
Yeah, and I think that's like the thing that like I don't ever remember like being somewhere as like a teenager and seeing like a plus size emo and going. Like, I am sure other people did. I'm sure people had horrible attitudes. But I do not ever remember being somewhere and seeing somebody in a bigger body and judging them for not looking like
I don't know if people judged me. I think I was just really, really, really harsh on myself. Like, I would put them on and take them off. Like, I can't go out in public in these. Like, I just felt so self-conscious. And there was that whole thing we spoke about before where it's like, I can hide if I hide the fact I'm fat, I'll stand a certain way and people will never know. Whereas if I wear these boots, they'll just see they're like, you know,
they're attached to my legs.
Yeah, and then they'll see that I'm fat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there was that whole thing as well. But I definitely don't think people were
no, I don't like. I honestly can't remember there being a culture of like people slagging off anybody for being in bigger bodies.
But the thing you have to remember as well, which is what I try and remember to myself all the time, people are so self-absorbed and so worried about how they look.
Yeah.
That, like, if I think about it as well, especially when I feel uncomfortable with myself, I'm so self-absorbed in how I look and how I feel. I don't care what the people around me look like or what they're wearing. Yeah. So you got to remember that. Wear what you want to wear, do what you want to do, because people are so self-absorbed. Well, like we're all self-absorbed. We're only thinking about ourselves, and
nobody cares about you. Actually,
we don't care. I know we do, but you know what I mean. Like,
no,
nobody's like, oh my god, look, her skirt is like an inch too short. She must be so uncomfortable. Like, only you know that information.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, there's a girl a woman I follow on Instagram. Her name is Michelle Elman. So her Instagram is Scarred Not Scared, and she posts a lot of stuff about body positivity. But a thing she posted recently was somebody said, how do you deal with stares in public? And she was like, how do you know that person staring is a bad stare? And she had like an anecdote about like how a child kept looking at her when she was out, and she just smiled at her, and then the child went, you look like a princess. And it was so, but she was like, she could have assumed that kid was like, you're fat or whatever, like, because Michelle is a plus size blogger.
Yeah.
And she was like, I could have assumed that, or I could have just not, and like it was actually positive. I was saying to you off pod that when I got on the Lewis to come here, I like sat down deliberately beside a girl who was dressed really cool, and I'm sure she was probably like, what the fuck, but like she was wearing like a brocade, kind of like black and like brown, like the brocade was kind of like a browny gold kind of, like a really soft, like it looked really soft. She had all badges down the front, she was wearing a bowler hat, she had her hair cut really short and black, she's wearing these really big glasses, and she had like wide pinstripe trousers and blue Converse. And I was just like, you look amazing. And I didn't say it to her. I wish I had. Yeah. I was probably just like, hi. But it's just that thing of like, you look really cool. And I was like, you know, you're in some kind of subculture. I don't know what it is, but I love
you're
it.
in one, and so am I.
Yeah, I love it. Please accept me as I have tattoo. I have tattoo.
And shaved head.
Please look at my shaved head and accept me as your own. But it is that like a desire to just like, I think fashion is so interesting. I think emo fashion was really interesting, and things that have grown out of it since. So, like, I feel like emo kind of grew into this, like, Tumblr thing of, like, tartan and pastel goth and, like, these cool things that are very internet based. I've never really seen one. Like, my mother used to always say that I was soft punk, and I'm like,
my mom used to think I was trying to be a witch, which she said to me before. I think you're just trying to be a witch. I was like, I'm trying to be emo, Mom. Like, you know.
And like soft punk kind of works because you're like, yeah, it's like, you know, tartan and like booty socks and fishnets and like leather and black, but also like emo makeup and whatever. And I love the idea that like that girl could have felt like I was looking at her because, I don't know, I hope that she didn't think because I wasn't sitting there beside her like staring at her like fucking SpongeBob or whatever, like, be my friend. But like I was kind of like, holy shit, you look amazing. And I hope that she wasn't thinking like, oh, you're looking at me because I look weird. I was actually like, you were awesome and you're wearing a really cool outfit. And I wish I was brave enough to wear a jacket like that. And I think a lot of emo kind of came from like this bravery thing of like the day that you got your fringe cut in, or the day that you like were brave enough to wear like shorts and tights or what, you know, like, shit like that you did this stuff that like other people might be like, hey, that's cool, or other people didn't give a fucking shit about, whereas that was all about how you felt.
Yeah, I remember I cut my hair. I wanted hair like Cassidy Pope, so I she ended up shaving the back of my hair. The hairdresser. Technically, hairdressers are headdressers. So she shaved the bottom of the back of my head, and like I had like the long fringe at the front, but instead of looking like Cassie Pope, I just looked like I wanted to speak to a manager. It was horrendous, and then it took ages to grow out, and oh my god, because it was red. It was like a fire engine red in my hair as well. So I just looked like
Karen.
I just looked like a pure Karen. Like, can I speak to the manager, please? Instead of an emo, and I was distraught. And I remember my boyfriend at the time broke up with me like a few months later, and I was like, it's because of my short hair. And my mom was like, it's not because of your fucking hair.
It's because I talked to the manager so often.
Yeah, he got sick of it.
I just think fashion is really fun, and I think the fact that there is no way of pinning down emo roots, like where exactly did we come up with all these things, is so interesting. Yeah. Like I've been reading this like everywhere that I can, and I just can't find it, and I think it's because nobody fucking knows, and it's because again it's like it's the last real subculture of youth. Like, we will continue on this podcast to try and figure out what is emo. We thought we knew, but now the more we read about it, the further away from the idea of emo we are getting. And when we have the answer, we will bring it to you. But it's like, you know, youth might think Shane Dawson makes like 4-part series in their search for an answer. We're going to keep going infinitely, I can't speak anymore. I think I'm done. But infinitely trying to figure out like answers to these unanswered questions. I mean, if you have a fucking theory, I don't know why it has to be a fucking theory, but if you have one, email us. Yes. kidsfromyesterdaypod@gmail.com. kidsfromyesterdaypodcast@gmail.com.
Betrayal.
Are we not kidsfromyesterdaypod@gmail.com?
Dun dun dun. Interval. Elevator music. kidsfromyesterdaypod@gmail.com. My sincerest apologies.
Thank you, Clodagh. We're actually Kids From Yesterday Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, and
Instagram,
and we're Kids From YDay Pod on Twitter. That's just because there wasn't enough letters. It's really like emophobic, but you know it's fine. Yeah, we're also up on the YouTubes now. We have a YouTube channel where you can check out the podcast. There is a few. We did an IGTV a couple of weeks ago, where we tried out emo ASMR. It had, you know, it was. You can see. Yeah, you can see for yourself, see how we get on. We're going to make a few more bits as well. We're going to throw a few things up. If you have any questions for us, if you want to, I don't know, get to know us, we might do a get to know us video. Yeah. Send us in a few questions. What would you like to know? Or like suggestions for future shows. Yeah, get in touch. Look, we want to chat to you. We want to make friends. We want to make an emo cult. We want to figure out this emo thing together. Get all our answers to all our, you know. Get all our answers. Yeah. Put them on a postcard. Tell the world what emo is. I mean, I feel like we've said more than a postcard worth. Yeah. But like, that's how we're going to answer shit from now on. Yeah. And if you're on Apple Podcasts right now listening to us, go give us a few stars, 5 of them preferably. Maybe a little comment.
Tell people how cool we are.
Yeah.
Just something that really helps with the charts. Obviously, we want to dominate the world, and we want to get Marilyn Manson on this podcast so we can ask him if he's emo. And to do that, we need to get to the top of the charts. So leave us a review, and we'll love you forever. We'll also get Marilyn Manson to give you a shout out when he's on the podcast.
We can film Marilyn Manson hitting me with a Doc Marten.
Oh, can't wait.
Great. Like, you emo, hit me with my shoe. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Doom doom. That was my impression of it.